Welcome to part 3 of the BMW 4 Series project. Here's the part that I've got from eBay. It's only 30 quid and I hope that's the last of the issues on this car. So I have just successfully completed the valtronic adaptation on this car. Looks like we've got a nice running BMW 4 Series engine. Unfortunately, I don't think so. Who knows what that sound is? Can you hear that sound? 4 years old? Do you really expect the lifters to go? Not really. There you go, guys. Rocker cover is going back on. We have now changed the lifters. Here's a few of them on my hand. I think we've finally sorted out the BMW 4 Series. The only thing I need to do now is take it on a test drive and confirm that it's absolutely free of fault. Let's give it some boost. How much did it cost me? So I've got all the invoices here. Therefore, that brings a profit of around. As some of you guys know, I recently purchased the cheapest BMW 4 Series in the country and I bought it sold as seen from auction. Now this specific car had a fire risk attached to it and he also said that the car smokes as well. Now that is clear signs that the car has caught fire or is catching fire or something along them lines, or it can mean absolutely anything else. So I took the risk and took on the challenge. There's no fun in buying cars that have no problems, right? So in the end, when it arrived at the unit, we looked around the car and we found that the engine was misfiring quite badly. The engine management light was flashing away and there was indeed smoke coming out from a breather pipe. We then did further checks and it showed that the car had actually overheated at some point and therefore needed the head gaskets replaced. But did that sort all of our issues out? Also, if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 yet, I suggest you do that first. What's happening, people? Welcome to part 3 of the BMW 4 Series project. Now, if you remember on part 2, this car had rough running issues at the end of it and we pointed the fault down to a valtronic motor, which we have now ordered from eBay. Got a used part over here and what we're going to be doing today is installing the part and then see how the car runs. So let's go to the front and have a look. Here's the car, almost ready to go. Here's the part that I've got from eBay. It's only 30 quid. It's about £400 from BMW. So let's pop the bonnet up and let's have a look. So the plan today is basically pretty much change the motor out, which is right there. If you remember in part 2, the end of it wasn't spinning, which is causing the car to run rough as this basically turns the camshaft inside. So yeah, pretty much we're going to have to strip a few things here and there and get this fitted on. And let's see how it goes. A bargain for the price I paid for it compared to brand new. But yeah, let's crack on. Now this motor is in a bit of a tricky location, as you can see. That's where it is, and if I show you this, it's got 2 holes in it on either side and we need to access that, and it makes it difficult because the manifold is on, but we'll figure something out. Yeah, so we kind of have to remove a few pipes and get our hands in it and get it removed, and hopefully after that we should be good to go. I will get the motor programmed and then start the car up and see how it runs. And I hope that's the last of the issues on this car. And I can call it a day with part 3 and move on to the next project, which I've been looking forward to do for quite a while now. So, yeah, let's see. There you go. Almost there. Just got to remove a few more things out of the way. And that should be it. One screw's right there anyway. You can see that right now. It's just the one on the other side is the hard one to get hold of. There's an alternator right underneath it. So yeah, bit tricky, but let me figure out. It's hard to film down there. The camera just focuses and defocuses on different things. So yeah, just try and get as much as we can. Right, so after a bit of fiddling around, we managed to get the motor out. A bit of a tricky location, but it's out now, no problem. So what I'm going to do now is basically jump in the car, get my machine out, plug it into the vehicle and program the motor to the car. I will then go for the start. Hopefully this is the last of the problems and I can box it completely off and give you guys a full price breakdown of how much I've spent on this car fully to get it where it is right now. Let's go, let's grab the machine and let's get started. So I'm just in the car now and I've got the computer plugged in to the ECU, and what I'm going to do is do the adaptations for the valtronic motor that I've just installed, and I'll be going for the first start. I do believe to do the adaptations the car does need to be started and running as well, so Either way, I guess we will see how it's running. Let's see. Now, as I said before, to do this adaptation, the engine has to be running and all electrical consumers are switched off. So let's go ahead. Here's the first start, guys. Let's see how the car runs. Hopefully it's not shaking anymore. There you have it. Looks like we've got a nice running BMW 4 Series engine. Just gonna let the rev settle a bit, but yeah, no more drivetrain error codes, just a tire pressure light, and that's about it. Engine sounds good. I'm just gonna pop out and have a look, but let's get this adaptation sorted out first before we do anything further.
A few moments later.
So I have just successfully completed the valtronic adaptation on this car. It's taken about 30 minutes. Let's step out and have a look at the engine. Finally glad to come to some sort of resolution on this car. It's been a while. There you go. Engine is running sweet. Idle is perfect. But I don't think that's it. Unfortunately, I don't think so. Who knows what that sound is? Can you hear that sound? Now, although the engine is running perfectly fine, I'll just come back and show you the idle as well. So if you can see, the idle is literally perfect. The only light we have on the dashboard is the tire pressure warning light. Now, I've got this little sort of rattle on the top of the engine, and if you ask me, that's the sound of the lifters from the top. And it's really annoying because now we basically have to take the rocker cover back off again to replace those. Yeah, I know BMWs are known for this kind of problem, but on a car that's a 68 plate, what, 4 years old, do you really expect the lifters to go? Not really, but I guess it is what it is, and we're gonna have to get that done. Obviously, when the engine was stripped out, we could have changed it, but the mileage in this car is only 70,000. There's no reason for us to suspect them to be faulty. But anyway, what we now need to do is take the ignition coils out, injectors, spark plugs, remove the fuel pump, rocker cover off, remove the tensioner for the timing chain, and then let the timing chain loose and take the cover off, which will give us access to the camshafts, and underneath the camshafts, you'll find the rockers and the lifters. I'm going to order them now, and we'll get started on this as well, so we can finish this off. Hopefully complete it all in part 3 and give you a cost breakdown of this car. So yeah, let's get started. So we now have the rocker cover removed. We've got the injector, the spark plug, the ignition coils all removed out. Get rid of the timing, and then basically get the camshafts removed, which is going to give us access to the rockers and lifters below. That there is what we're looking at. That's the rocker, and lifters are basically what goes below that. The lifters are here. Let me show you. These are lifters, yeah. So when they go faulty, they start to make the noise that you've heard before. And unfortunately, because of that, we're having to strip everything back down again. Not really everything, but the rocker cover. Luckily, the cylinder head doesn't have to come off. So yeah, this is it. Hopefully finalize the video of part 3 there and give you guys a full final cost breakdown of this car. So the lifters have now been installed. We've just put the camshafts back in place and secured the caps. Next up, just time the engine back up, put the rocker cover back on, injectors, ignition coil, spark plugs, and we're done. I'm going to start this car back up again. Hopefully it's the last start up we're going to do, and go for another test drive. And I'll be able to finalize this video once and for all.
5 minutes later.
There you go, guys. Rocker cover is going back on. We are ready to start this car back up again. There you have it, guys. The BMW 4 Series is ready to be started up again for the second time. This time we have now changed the lifters. Here's a few of them on my hand. Come off the car. Won't be needing those. So hopefully once I go for the start, there should be no more problems, because that was the only issue I had when I started up last. So let's go. Let's start this car up. What do you lot think? I think we finally sorted out the BMW 4 Series. That sounds exactly how it's supposed to. Rev it up a little bit. That is perfect. Finally, I am proud to say that the BMW 4 Series is now done. The only thing I need to do now is take it on a test drive and confirm that it's absolutely free of faults. As a matter of fact, let's jump into the car and let me show you the dashboard, because that will show how the car is running on idle, and then obviously any sort of engine management lights or whatnot. Let's have a look. There you got it. No lights whatsoever. There you go. Engine sounds good. Let's go to vehicle status. Obviously the tire pressure light that was there before as well, but let's check the control. There you have it. Door open, bonnet open, no problem with that. So I think I'm going to hit the road and let's see how the car drives. But it sounds absolutely amazing. Look how quiet that sounds now. Before it was shaking, rattling, you name it, all sorts of problems. It's been a while, 3 months or so. And when I say 3 months, it's not because it took us 3 months to repair it. It's because once we stripped it, it's all the parts that we need to get together, cylinder head, and then having difficulties with the cylinder head because the person who supplied it had installed it wrong. We had to redo his work and whatnot, and obviously now the lifters, and not to mention the flow of the workshop. All the cars behind me also need to get done. But yeah, here we go. Let me jump in and let's go for a drive. Look at this, finally back in the 4 Series, the one that had fire risk and smokes. No more fire risk, no more smoke, and no more rattling. The only one thing to do is hit the road. Look at the idle, perfectly still. It's up to temperature now as well, which is good. Let's go. Let's go hit the roads. To me, it feels like it's driving just as it should right now. Now, after major work like that, it's usually good to check for other issues. For example, if the car goes into lit mode or throws any more lights while you're driving it. So obviously now the car's under pressure. Before it was parked up on idle. So yeah, let's give it some boost. As you can see, we're going well into the boost zone. I'll do manual gears. It's got a decent kick to it, this car does. There you have it, a clean dash, driving perfectly fine, no lit modes, going right into boost, no problems there. And this is exactly what I want to see. No faults on the control. Perfect. That is part 3 of the BMW 4 Series project done. It's time to give it that well-deserved car wash. It's just been parked up for the last 3 months gathering dust. There you have it. The BMW 4 Series is back from the car wash looking 10-10. Driving how it should and sounding even better now. The first time the car's looking this clean ever since it's come from auction. Look at that, with that contrasting red interior, absolutely mint. Who would know that this car had a fire risk attached to it just 2 months ago? All the markings for that is now gone. and the car's looking just how it should. I'm pleased to say that we are finally at part 3 of this video, and we can wrap it up very soon. The only thing I've got to do now is give you a full breakdown of what it cost me to buy the car, labor and any sort of parts or anything that's been spent to get the car to where it is now. So now that the BMW 4 Series is completely fixed, how much did it cost me? So I've got all the invoices here, including the invoice from the auction site where I bought the car from. So let's go through all these receipts. Got a bunch of them to go through. I put it all down in a list on my phone, so I'm going to go through it one by one. So the car itself cost me £12,200 to buy, including delivery. Now, if you remember, the original cylinder head from this car had too much damage in the machine shop, and once pressure tested, it failed the leak test. So I had to get a used one, which cost me £500. The head gasket set, £202, and the car overheated so badly that the machine was also out of shape. Therefore, I had to go to the machine shop for that too, and it needed to be skimmed and also needed a liner on cylinder number 2, if you remember what happened from the damage from the piston. So that cost me £276. A valtronic motor from eBay, £35. A set of spark plugs, £45. Battery, £231. Piston rings, £80. Water pump and coolant hose, £183. A thermostat and an oil cooler at £200. The total of all those parts come up to 1752. Now in terms of labor, the whole build took 4 days back to back when calculated in total, and I've worked that out to be around £800 cost price. For all the parts and labor, that brings a grand total of £2,552. Now in terms of profit margin, I've had a look through Auto Trader for similar spec and miles, and I've seen that this car retails at about £22,000. Therefore, that brings a profit of around £7,200. Now that is insane. That is actually insane. What can I say? That's the kind of margin you can make when you take risks. This car, if you remember on part 1, when I bought it from auction, it was sold as a non-runner, and it said it had a fire risk to it, and I had no clue what that meant. That could have been the car's been involved in a fire or anything. But yeah, it looks like it turned out good so far. Here we are with a margin of 7,200, and the car's running perfectly fine. That is all for part 3, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in to all the parts of this video. Look forward to the next project, which is going to be up next week. If you're new, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, like this video, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.